We are here today to bring homage to our ancestors who arrived at Truman Point on slave ships from West Africa. Our ancestors walked these same shoreline to work on large tobacco plantations. We're here to say thank you, and now this land is our land.
Well, Eagle Harbor is next door to the state's largest coal-burning power plant. When I was a boy, swimming in the river was hard to accomplish. I actually grew up in a segregated era. It was much easier to find a swimming pool when I was growing up than it was to actually find a place you could swim in this river. So as a riverkeeper, my job is to run a movement that actually tries to protect, save, and conserve this river. The way I approach that is largely by working very closely with local communities.
So the rich legacy of this paradise on the Patuxent, as we came to dub it, has been passed down for generation by generation to the younger ones, and to know the importance of keeping the history, the rich history, African-American history of this town. My parents taught us the importance of farming and cultivating the land. We had crabbing and fishing that we sustained ourselves with from the river. And that sustainability and that culture of giving back to the community has been passed down to our children to know the importance of nurturing this very wealthy and rich community history.
Right now they're experiencing a flooding problem that is in part connected to the runoff from that plant next door.
Okay, as you can see, when the water rises, we have a serious rainstorm. It goes into my yard, and you can see the erosion right here on the creek. And you can see how my fence, how it's actually in the creek now.
I've lost 23 feet of my shoreline. I wanted to back out here, take my boat, go out fish, go out crab, do whatever I wanted to do. I can't do that. It's been taken away.
So the oil spill of the year 2000, people have called that the worst man-made ecological disaster in Maryland's history. So this pipeline that ran across the Swanson Creek, is the name of the creek, ruptured when they threw the switch the wrong way. And I guess it was many hours before they noticed that it was actually leaking and leaching out into the river. So it killed the fisheries, killed the oysters. If you go out there and you reach into the mud with an oar, it'll come up black with oil. It's still living within the sediment and the oil offshore. Nobody cared about Eagle Harbor until we got involved. You didn't see any Greens involved in these guys at all. They were an afterthought for anybody. You know, I think the only reason anybody thought they were important was because they were next to a power plant, but not because they were important in their own right. In other words, the town's agenda, the town's ability to thrive, the town's future, none of that was on the minds of the environmentalists. So you wouldn't put a plant like that next to a rich neighborhood. They wouldn't stand for it. I guarantee it.
So there is a very popular misconception about Black people having a lack of interest in engaging with the natural landscapes in America and in a lot of other places that have been colonized. And I think the problem is that people don't recognize how much Black and Indigenous people have put into the environment. If you go to various countries in Africa, almost all countries, Black people are actively living off of the land. They're farming, They're walking everywhere. They're engaging in the environment in such a strong way that we just don't do here because, again, this history of environmental racism and the way that Black people are not allowed access to the land.
There seems to be an organic resurgence of revitalization as far as the spirit of making the town better. It is one of the last predominantly African-American waterfront communities left in the United States, so it is quite significant.
I really don't think that humans have any business tampering with nature's natural plan. That's the problem with the climate today. We're not going to find a clever way to fix that problem. It's an obvious one. Stop ruining the planet. It gets better really quick. Stop putting crap in these rivers. They get better really fast. Nature's resilient if you do the right stuff.
We have a very arrogant and disrespectful attitude about the environment. This is something that we need to slash and burn and conquer in some way. All the ways that Mother Nature is rebelling right now is in direct response to that imbalance that has been imposed by humans. You know, we can't be angry at Mother Nature for being angry at us.